For this section, you need your passport and your visa information, your passport number, date of issue, place of issue, expiry date, and the validity of your visa. Whatever visa you currently are on in the US, if you are in the US. This is about your educational qualifications from MBBS onwards. The space is quite limited. You need to squeeze in over there the name of the institution and the university. And maybe like, you know, if you can retype the form, maybe you can create more space. But I really squeezed in my details. For your MCI registration number, I had a query because I never registered with the MCI, so I was very confused about this. But then when you go to this website, you find out that all your state medical registers, they register you with the MCI. So for an example, this is the website. When you go to this link, this is my own example. You can search by name, and when I put in my name, these last two are my details. I mean, if you have a common name, you can go in for advanced search option where you can put in the year of registration and what state medical council you are registered with and all those details. And you can easily find out your registration details with the MCI. And when you click on view, you can see exactly what the details you are there, which you are supposed to enter in the form. So now this part you're supposed to fill from the offer letter that you have received from your program. So the name of the specialty training, so like psychiatry, internal medicine, when does it start? So here I've entered the orientation date, the duration of the course, and the name and complete address of the institution and university. And this part you just fill it up, confirming that you have submitted the bond. And this is where you will be required to sign when you submit your application to the consulate. So you need to fill up this form, and you need to fill up some parts of the bond, which you must take to the consulate. So this is my form as an example, the page that I just showed you. Sorry, please bear with me, I have a cough. So this, the red box is what the consulate attested for me. And the green box is what the notary attested for me. The notary attested my signature. So here in the US, the notary won't attest your signature just like that. So I actually went to one notary and she refused to do it. And so I took the blank, I mean, without the notary attestation to the consulate. But then the consulate people, they insisted that you need a notary over there. So I went to another notary, which was located near the consulate, and that notary did this for me. And she also resisted, but then she said that a lot of people come to me for this issue, and so I'm doing it for you, but it's not legal. That is what she said. So after you do that, this is what you must attach with your application. And all this has to be self-attested. So your offer letter, your Indian passport, and excluding the blank pages. So just print out all the pages that have like a immigration stamp or a visa. Your current visa, valid visa on which you are in the US, and also your I-20, DS 2019, I-94, whatever relevant documents are there with you. And then finally the surety bond in original. So now for the bond, you need to issue the bond on a 10 lakh, for 10 lakhs on 100 rupees non-judicial stamp paper. But if you're applying from the US, you will just print out this bond on plain paper, and you will fill it up and take it to the consulate, where they will attest it first, and then you need to send it to India. and the lawyer or whoever is your authority in India will continue the process from there. So in India, as I was told very recently, that it's a specific stamp which is from the collector's office. I wasn't aware of that, so I don't know. I'm just waiting for them to, respond to my application. The two sureties, one of them should be a close relative and the other one should not be a relative. So just they have a section where you mention your relationship with them. So just mention whatever it is. They also require an ITR undertaking from the sureties. So they do not actually need to give their IT returns for 3 years, but just an undertaking that they have filed ITR. And this is a format for that, which is available with Dr. Mansuri. So this is the page of the bond where I have signed. And actually the entire bond was retyped by my lawyer because it had those stamps of Mr. Sonu Kumar, and that wasn't allowed on the legal document. So again, this red box is where the consulate attested, and the green box is where the notary attested my signature. And the other two boxes were filled by the sureties in India. This is for the first surety, and then there's another box for the second surety. But you need to fill up the entire bond and sign it. And then your witnesses should also sign it and their name and postal address. And then you have to take it to the consulate, where and probably get it notarized before taking it to the consulate. So all this you need to do before you drop it off at the consulate. Okay, this is what I said. Just fill up everything in the bond, except for these boxes for the sureties for the president and the biodatas. So this is my lawyer who did everything for me in Mumbai. He's in Fort, and this is his contact number. So if you need any help, he is familiar with the process as he's just done it for me like 15 days ago. So if you're in Mumbai or you want to get it done from Mumbai, you can contact him. This is the cover letter that I attached to the front of my application. It is just a normal application, and then I signed it and sent it to India. Now, for the process at the consulate for San Francisco, this is the website. Go to this link and you can secure an appointment if you're going in person, or you can send your documents through the mail. So if you're sending it through mail or in person, the instructions are very explicit. The only confusing part is the fees. And they mentioned that it's $10 per document, but I had just one document and 2 signatures. So it should actually be $22, but then they charged me 36. And I said, I've just got 32, and that also on the safe side. So they said, okay, give 32. And so the problem with the San Francisco consulate is that they do not take cash. They do not accept any credit debit card. So it has to be a cashier's check. So if you don't have the proper value, or if you fall short, you have to look for a bank and get a cashier's check made, which can be quite difficult. So it's better to, make a higher value cashier's check and take it to them. And there's also a miscellaneous services application form that you need to fill, and you're supposed to take it with you to the consulate. And if you're going in person, you need to take all originals, like your passport, address proof, visa, I-94, all of that you need to show them. And you don't need to, I think you can give self-attested copies because you've shown them the originals. But if you're mailing them, then you need to get those copies notarized. And yeah, notarize your signatures, even though the notaries in the US will fight it, but then just say that, you want it done and they will figure out a way to do it. And they take your documents and they give it back to you the same day. And this is their contact email, and that is it. Please let me know later if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saadiya. This was very helpful. We'll take the questions after all the presentations. So next we are going to Dr. Shweta Patel. She's a PGY1 at Virginia Carillon. She matched last year. So she's going to share her experience from the New York Consulate. Over to you, Shweta.
Hi everyone. First of all, congratulations. You all matched. So that's a big step. I was in New York doing all this process. So I'm gonna explain how I did everything. So like Saadiya explained, that's exactly how you filled out all the forms. For New York Embassy last year, there was a lot of conflict because the website said that they were not taking in-person applications. You have to mail it, and you can't find any spots for application or anything, and it was very confusing. But they did take applications in person, and this year I checked, they are taking everything in person. So I would suggest do it in person. You get everything back the same day, and it will be easier. First of all, you need to put in request for attestation. So the attestation is basically the Indian consulate saying that, okay, this person is real, they are in USA, and we are testifying that this is their signature, and that's all we need for that. And like Saadiya said, there are 2 pages in the whole SON application where we sign, the application sign, and we only need those 2 pages signed by the consulate. So that's all. This process is just for that. So for that, first of all, this is the link where you apply for miscellaneous application, miscellaneous process, whatever. And in that, you will select that you are applying to get a document signed by the consulate. After that, in New York Embassy, they accept all the papers between 9:30 and 11 a.m. So that's when you give all the papers, everything. Required documents are listed here. So the application that you submitted through the website, first page should be that. Second is the application and surety bond. As Saadiya mentioned, notarize those 2 pages where you are signing. I got it signed by someone who I already knew in the US and who had the notary power. So they did it for me. I didn't have any issues with that, but you might need to find someone who will be willing to do it for you. So keep that in mind. The application and surety bond, keep 1 photocopy of that notarized for the consulate. As Saadiya mentioned, passport, only the pages which are filled. Your visa, I was on a student visa, F1 visa, so I had I-20. If you are on any other visa, related documents to that, always take photocopies of that too. I wasn't sure if they need notarized copy of all those documents or not, so I got everything notarized. I didn't want to take any chances because it was confusing due to COVID and everything. And proof of address. So now for me, I didn't have a proof of address because I was living with my relatives. So what I did was, my relative wrote an affidavit saying that I was living with them, and then they attached their house deed and my bank statement, which has their address in that. So those things were enough for me to prove that I was living with them. So that's all the documents that I submitted. And as Saadiya mentioned, it's $12 for 1 signature. So for 2 signatures, it was $24 for me. And they usually say that they take cashier's check or money order, but for me, they took cash. So New York Consulate is just different. And you can pick up all your documents at 4 p.m. So you get everything done in the same day. And after you get all the documents back, you mail it back to India, and whoever is in India will do the surety part, and then they can send it to the embassy for further process. So this is how the website looks. If you live in any of these states, that's when you go to New York Consulate. These are the 5 documents for proof of address. I didn't have any of them, so if you guys have that, that's good. This is how the application for the miscellaneous services look like. So I had Indian passport, so that one, attestation of documents. There is a whole long list of things you can get done under miscellaneous services. So attestation of documents is the one that you choose. And I did the in-person one. So this is how it looks. And this is where you can print out the application from this form. These are links for some of the other consulates for miscellaneous services, where you can apply for them: Washington, Houston, and Atlanta. I think Saadiya had San Francisco one in her presentation. Now in India, because some of my documents were signed here, I couldn't type it, like, my lawyer couldn't type it on non-judicial stamp paper. So what they did is they got the non-judicial stamp paper, they attached my whole application to that, and the rest was, as Saadiya mentioned, you can do that process. For non-judicial stamp paper, any lawyer can help you get that one. For, as Saadiya mentioned, sureties, first one has to be your relative, second one cannot be a relative, it can be anyone else. For me, my surety and my both my sureties, they provided IT returns for 3 years, and there was also a part where they mentioned their property. So they did like property evaluation report, which can be done by any government property evaluator. So I attached both of them because I didn't want to take any chances. But if they accepted with just the statement, that's well and good. I attached all these things. After that, the whole thing has to be notarized by a notary general or area subdivisional magistrate. Now, I did it through notary general. Notary general is any lawyer who has the license to do notary in India, and it's, if you know someone who is a notary general, it will be very easy. Both the sureties and the witness, they all have to go there and sign it, and the notary will just say that, okay, they signed it in front of me, so this is the notary. And that's how the whole application has to be notarized, and you mail the whole thing to this address. Saadiya already showed this one. So this process is the first 2 are for people who are already in India. The third part is what we did in USA, and then we sent it. So I think there was one of the question that do the people in India need to get the Annex A notarized? I don't think you guys need to get it notarized. If you guys are already there, they're gonna notarize the whole application itself. When you go to the surety signature and everything, for us, it was different. We had to go to the consulate, like I mentioned, because they have to prove that, okay, we are real and we are studying in USA, so we need to do that. But like I mentioned, it can be signed by notary public or area subdivisional magistrate in India. Now, last year, statement of needs were issued based on your program start date. So even if, like, Saadiya already matched, her application is already there. But if my application reached after her, but my program start date is before her, my statement of need will be issued first. That's how they did the things last year. I'm not sure how they do it every year, but there was a lot of chaos happening last year. Everyone was very worried. So if you guys see that someone's application which reached after you and their SON is already issued, don't freak out. Your statement of need will be issued they might be doing it this way again this year. So don't freak out. That's just be patient. It's gonna take time. In past years, I think it was like that they would send you the paper statement of need at your address, and then you upload it to ECFMG portal. But since last 2 years, they have started uploading the statement of need themselves to the ECFMG portal, and then they will send you the physical copy in mail. So this process gets easier. Once your statement of need is uploaded to the ECFMG portal, ECFMG will issue your DS 2019. The DS 2019 is issued to your program. Once your program coordinator receives the DS 2019, they will mail it to you wherever you are, in India, in US, wherever you want. Just give the program your address, they will mail it to you. Once you get the DS 2019, that's when you can schedule your visa appointment. And after that, it's just the visa interview and all that. For last year, now some applicants got email asking for additional documents. For me, they were, and it was one of the very common thing that they asked. For us, the contracts, they come out for 1 year. And on the application, we mentioned that it's a 3-year program or 4-year program. So one of the most common question they had was, your application is mentioning this many years, but your contract is mentioning only 1 year. Please explain this. So for this, what I did is I asked my program coordinator to just type up a letter saying that, okay, this program is 4 years and they just issue contract for 1 year. And this is a letter that they sent me. So it just mentioned that, okay, I matched, my contract mentions this, but my completion date is this. And always put in your start date. As a start date, put the orientation date, not the 1st July one, because that's how it will come up on your statement of need, and that's how your DS 2019 will get issued. But that's about it. That's the process.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for explaining last year's process. And I think we have the third speaker now. So Darshini Vora is a PGY3 at Texas Tech University. She's going to explain how to transition from J1 research visa to J1 clinical visa while staying in the United States. So over to you, Darshini.
All right. So now bear with me, it's been a while. I've done this 3 years ago. But the one thing that I would have to say is this form is your best friend when you're converting J1 research to clinical, and you have to work very closely with your TPL, because the TPL, the program liaison, the one where you've matched the clinical program, they would be uploading all of these documents on your behalf. So what you do is, once they have initiated the application, you have all of this. The most important thing is to follow exactly what they're saying here. So if they're talking about statement of educational objectives, then you fill this form out. It's a pretty simple form. You have to describe it as best as you can. Anything you write, just it's going to be acceptable. Briefly describe your overall education and professional objectives, what you're going to do. Just write it as best as you can. Do you plan to engage in additional US training beyond, as honest as you can? There's no wrong answer here. And briefly describe how the skills acquired through planned US training, and then sign. And this basically, all of this has to be uploaded by your TPL. So you make sure you send it to the program liaison of your clinical program, and she will upload it on your behalf. We have research mentor support letter. So I got it from my research mentor. I wrote it for him and all he did was sign it. It's a letter of support explaining how how the research activities are related to the proposed clinical training. So why are you transitioning? You need a solid justification. So I transitioned from psychiatry research to psychiatry clinical. So that's how I based my letter, the research mentor support letter. Again, I sent the letter to the TPL and she uploaded it on my behalf. The responsible officer form, this is from I think, if I'm not mistaken, this responsible officer you have in both programs. So you'll have one in your research program as well as in your clinical program. So this responsible officer form, you can see this here. I'm just gonna open it up. So this should be filled by the responsible officer in your research program. So you can have this filled out. It's a pretty straightforward form. And clinical program director support letter from your clinical program. Again, a very letter of support why you're transitioning. So it's pretty similar to the previous letter. ECFMG application fees, make sure you have finished all of these as well as this DOS fee and proof of service payment. Now, I'm a little rusty in my knowledge, so I'm not sure, but I just followed this exact thing and all of those documents were uploaded. But one thing that I want to highlight is that when I was transitioning from research to clinical, my dates were not overlapping. My research program was ending in May end, and my clinical program was starting in July end. So they'd given me the dates for the orientation, so mid-June. So I had a few days where it was, I had no justification of why I was in the US. So I called ECFMG and they said, this is exactly it. I forgot to read this because applicants must maintain the J1 research scholar status during that time of transition. So there should not be an overlap between your research program. So what I did was I called my research program director and I asked him to extend my J1. So he was kind enough to extend it till July, and that's how I managed. I wasn't there in the US illegally, and extension doesn't take that much time. So, and I was pressed for time as well, but he did it pretty quick and it worked out well for me. Now, remember that 60 days, they're very particular about this. So whenever I would call ECFMG, they would just tell me, it's 60 days, I can't help you beyond that. So make sure you start well in advance and start gathering all of these documents, because it does take time to write both clinical program director support letter, research mentor support letter, and fill out all these forms and make sure that you are in touch with the clinical TPL so that he makes the process he or she makes the process smooth. So that's my bit.
Thank you so much, Darshini. So I think we have had 3 great experiences. And before we go to questions, just a couple of things. So some common questions, some misconceptions. So J1 research visa is for 5 years, which is different from J1 clinical, which is 7 years. There's no intersection, both are separate. So even if you did 5 years of research, it doesn't eat away your J1 clinical time. You still have your 7 years of J1 clinical, and you can actually extend it by 1 year. There is something called exceptional need certificate. So some of our cardio folks who like to study a lot and want to do advanced fellowships, they may need that extra year, and that is commonly done. Not a big problem, not a big issue. There is also something called an O1 visa, which is an extraordinary ability visa that can also be used in case you don't get the ENC, but I've never heard of ENC getting denied. So that would not be an issue, but this is again tomorrow's problem, not today's problem. So that is there. And then we'll go to the questions one by one, and I'll shed some light on some things during that part. So let's start with the first question. Do we need to notarize the application form NXA even if we are in India? Let's go to Saadiya, since she has to leave early, if she's still here. Saadiya, are you here?
Sorry, I was just about to leave.
Okay, we'll just go to Shweta then. Shweta, do we need to notarize the application form Annexure A even if we are in India?
So for us, like I mentioned, the notary that we do here in USA, that was just for the papers that we signed, the applicant signed in the consulate. but when you send the whole application along with the stamp paper, you do need to get the whole application notarized. So they do notarize the stamp paper. So I think that should cover it.
Thank you. In the IT returns, this financial year will end in March. So how can we give a statement which says that including the current financial year? Darshini?
It's so rusty. I have no idea.
Okay, Shweta?
I have no idea about
I think,
that.
yeah, so it's, I think the good thing is Indian government is not that strict about these things. So technically speaking, when you are submitting that, as long as you have done it the previous 3 years, you can just mention it as including the current year, presuming that last year was the current year, since you have not submitted it this year. So it's just an undertaking. And as long as you are going to submit it this year as well, it should not be an issue. They do not like, they're not very OCD about like checking that, but yeah, make sure that you submit. I mean, whoever is your surety, they submit their IT returns this year, but you can still make that statement. It is not an issue. Can someone share the text for the ITR declaration? We have shared it in the WhatsApp groups. We'll share the WhatsApp group links. Actually, can someone, Anish or anyone else from the Humans of USMLE team, just share the SON WhatsApp link? We will be sharing all the documents there again, but there is a Word ITR declaration form there, which you can use. Can anyone explain the process of getting surety bond or statement of need attested from United Kingdom? I am an Indian citizen working in the UK. Shweta.
That's interesting question. I don't think anyone I know have done this process, so I cannot speak for that one.
Yeah, I think same here. I have not seen anyone done it. I mean, do it, but I mean, technically speaking, the process should not be different because you're technically getting, I mean, you have an Indian consulate in UK. You can get it notarized and you can do the same thing as the US people are doing. To the best of my knowledge, that should not be an issue. But I would just call the UK consulate and just ask that question, or you just directly call the Indian Ministry of Health and they should be able to answer that question. But I think the process should not be different than what we just described for California and New York City. Do we need to mention B1, B2 visitor visa status in the form?
If you have the visa, you have to mention that you have that kind of visa.
Yeah, I mean, the question, I mean, technically they're asking about active status. So if your B1, B2 is active, you have to mention it with the date that they've given you. If technically say you have something like an F1 visa or your visa has expired and stuff, practically speaking, some people have said not applicable and some people have just put the date and whenever that visa expired. Either of these things is fine. As I said, they're not like scrutinizing it in that much detail. So both those things would be fine depending on if your past visa status is active or not. Great. Aditya is asking, thank you for the wonderful presentations. Is the second surety no longer required to be a government gazetted officer? And second, can you share the format of the cover letter? Shweta.
So if you go on the Ministry of Health and Welfare's website, they still have the gazetted officer one application on there. So no, we do not need that one anymore. They changed it last year. It does not have to be a government gazetted officer. It can be anyone, as long as they are not related to you.
Great. And the cover letter format, we'll share it in the WhatsApp group. So again, first surety has to be a relative and has to be a citizen of India and has to live in India. So there were questions about like, what if my surety is living abroad, or what if he's a citizen but not in India? So that won't work. Indian citizen residing in India, two things. Second, does not need to be a gazetted officer. That was a pain. So that's why it can be anyone who is not a close relative. But again, at the end of the day, who knows who's your relative and who's not? So practically speaking, as long as they are filing the IT returns and I mean, they trust you enough to sign this bond that if you basically are not going to pay those 10 lakhs whenever the time comes, then that should not be a problem. So that is definitely something that you can use. But again, does not need to be a gazetted officer. We have confirmed this multiple times. Multiple people have already applied this year. Fellowship folks, pre-match folks, and it has not been a problem. So yes, it does not need to be a government gazetted officer for sure. The next question is, I have a question regarding surety. My father has been filling IT returns for many, many years, but what if all properties are on my grandparents' name and grandparents are not filing IT returns due to retired status. So if my father's liquid asset status is very sufficient for 10 lakh bond, then will it be fine or not if we show nil in immovable asset? And same is happening for second surety too. So more than enough liquid assets are sufficient or not if we show nil in immovable assets?
I do not have that much knowledge about that one.
Question for a lawyer, maybe.
Yeah, I think this should be a question to your lawyer.
I mean, yeah, but practically speaking, the point is from what we have seen, I think liquid assets more than, I mean, significant liquid assets again, which is like, okay, you have enough liquid assets, say 60, 70 lakhs, something in that range, you can pay 10 lakhs. So basically they want to see that in case tomorrow you don't come back to the country, is the person who's signing it for you, do they have enough money? It doesn't matter how they have money, whether liquid or solid. But as long as you have enough money in those accounts, that's fine. And technically speaking, you only need to show the liquid assets in enough numbers. So you know how to show it. I don't need to tell it to you in India. So that should be fine. No immovable assets, nil is not an issue to the best of our experience. Again, not legal advice. If you still have doubts, go to your lawyer. Next, should every page of the bond be on a stamp paper? Shweta?
No, it's just the first page that needs to be on the stamp paper and the rest can be just regular papers. As far as I understand the process.
Thank you
And
so
like
much.
I mentioned, for people who are doing the process from India, it doesn't even have to be the first page on the stamp paper. It's just plain stamp paper and the application is attached to the back of it.
Awesome. Can the process be done in Chicago?
I think it can be. You just need like the process that we mentioned from San Francisco and New York. You need those 2 pages signed by the embassy. So you just need to get that miscellaneous document attestation thing done, and it can be done from there.
Yeah. So the important thing is you have to find out in which location does your like embassy is. So if you're in Texas, you can't do it in New York. You have to go to the Houston consulate. So don't try to mix and match the consulate. Whatever your address is, you have to find out the consulate that like caters to your specific place. But again, there are 5 consulates, and I think Shweta gave the details in her presentation. So, and we are recording this, so you can go back and check it out. Is the year of passing the same as year of graduation after finishing MBBS and internship?
For me, I put in year of passing as the year I passed my final MBBS exam. And year of graduation is where I put the year I finished my internship.
Darshini, I'm pretty sure you don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I think I have been putting my graduation date everywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can put either. Is basically the answer. Okay, next. Do we also have to attach a CV with the statement of need?
I did not. If you feel that you need to, you can. I brought my CV to the visa interview, but not with the SON. I didn't send it my CV with the.
They have a very particular list of documents, if
Yeah.
I remember. Just
it's on the application. They have the list of documents that they need. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you follow the list, you should be fine. Don't try to add stuff. Remember, even though it's the Indian consulate in New York, it's not New York people. They are our people. So you make them work more, they are not going to like it. And you don't want to waste one more day in the New York consulate or any consulates. So I would follow exactly what they tell you and not be over smart there. For the statement of need application, they were asking for a copy of visa. Do we have to show whatever is the current one, which is B1, B2 for that person?
So I had B1, B2 and F1. I send in both my visa pages.
Yeah, I agree. The more the merrier in that case, like if you want to be on the safe side.
Awesome. Thank you. Does the address have to be the same as the one on Oasis? In other words, does the final statement of need issued to ECFMG have our address details?
I have to check, but if you are talking about the address on the application, it has to be the Indian address where you want your SIN signed. I'm not exactly sure about where they are asking this address about, like in the consulate or in the SON application.
Darshini?
Yeah, same thing. I don't think there's any connection. So
Yeah.
just where you want it sent.
True. Two independent things. The Indian address is taken because they are going to send you a physical copy of the statement of need after they send the electronic copy to the ECFMG. So make sure that your Indian address is current and active, and make sure you save that statement of need. You will need it when you apply for fellowship. So you will get an online email as well. Save that as well, and save the physical copy as well very safely. So whoever is there at that address, make sure you get it and not lose it. It will come back after 3 years when you apply for fellowship. Okay, next. In the details of academic qualifications from MBBS onward, should we mention MBBS college or leave it blank if we have just done MBBS?
I mentioned MBBS and then whatever I did next.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just about like MPH or MH, or if you've done anything else, you can mention that as well. That would just be an additional detail in the form, which is not very helpful, but I mean, if they're asking us to fill it, we just fill it. Is it all right if our passport has a different address than our permanent address?
Yes, it's all right. My passport had a different address than my current address. I put in my current address in my application form because that's where I wanted my SON delivered.
Great, Darshini?
Yeah, I agree. I think it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, thank you. And then one more thing, I think a passport question was asked somewhere else, where if your passport is about to expire, you don't have more than 6 months validity on your passport. Technically speaking, there are some waivers and you should be okay. But just to be on the safe side, I would renew my passport right now, and you can renew your passport even within United States. So if you have only 6 months left or less than 6 months left, check your passport and get it renewed quickly so that you don't run into any hassle down the road.
Yeah, very important point.
The next is, does the process remain same if someone is in Canada and not a permanent resident of Canada?
It should remain the same, like we mentioned with UK, you just need those 2 pages attested by the embassy. After that, the process is the same.
Thank you. Hi, could you please explain how to provide proof of address for people who are on B1, B2 visa in the US? I do not have the document showed in the list, including the bank account in the US. Thanks.
I mean, you need at least one piece of paper stating that you are currently residing at this address in USA, along with affidavit or whatever, like I mentioned that my uncle did for me, affidavit and their house deed. So you need at least one piece of paper, like if you have any bill or anything mentioning that you are residing at this address, that should work. I have done that to open my bank account. I used like Amazon delivery like receipt to prove that I'm living at this address currently. So
Yeah, and I remember being in that situation, and I opened a bank account, and that worked out well for me.
Yeah, I think that would be the quickest way. I mean, you can also get technically you are staying somewhere. So wherever that somewhere is and whoever owns it, they can write a statement that can get notarized, but it's just a hassle to do all that. I think opening a bank account is the simpler option. It should be pretty quick if you really need to do that. How many days does the whole procedure take? What was the timeline for your change of status while within USA? Darshini?
It took at least 3 months. So at least, because like I said, there was a lot of hassles. There's a lot of things you discover through this process. Especially for me, because I was converting, so I didn't have the overlap, and it's just wait for ECFMG to process. So at least 3 months, I would say.
Right. So the most important thing is you have to start the process now. Do not wait. If your program is saying that your contract will or whatever offer letter will take time, tell them that this is urgent. This is not something that you just can wait for like 6-7 weeks to get the letter and then start the process. And you need to get things done ASAP. That is very important. I'll give you an example of 2 years ago. 2 years ago, our folks had lots of issues. Remember, COVID was at its peak. Like we were not even able to get documents back home in India in time. So I was a part of a 3-member team. We negotiated with the government of India to give you your statement of need beforehand, under the condition that you will be able to submit your documents in time. And fortunately for us, they agreed. So people were getting the statement of needs without filling the documents, and they were just adding one annexure where they were saying that we will submit all the documents by XYZ date. If we don't submit it, then they are going to revoke the statement of need. So yeah, I mean, government is flexible in those things and stuff, but it's not always dependent on like the government. Sometimes the undersecretary may not be flexible. So from your end, do everything you can to start your residency in time. Most residency programs will wait for you, okay, 1 or 2 months, because it's a pain to get a new resident instead of you. So 1 or 2 months is not a problem, but the moment you step into September and you are still not in US and your visa is still pending, then there is no guarantee. They can pull your offer. They can do that at any time. So 1 to 2 months is normally okay. But the most important thing from your end is very open and quick communication. If there is a delay, inform them ASAP. If your visa goes in administrative processing, which is very, very rare, but if it does, you need to tell them ASAP. You need to get the whoever the senator of that area is involved very quickly to make them give your visa very quickly. So make sure that you don't mess around with that. Communication open, don't hide it from them. It's going to hurt you if you hide it from them and they find it out later. So that is very important. And then timeline for Shweta. How much time did it take for you, Shweta? If you could tell us when you submitted it, when you got it, when you how quickly could you get the visa interview, and when did you like reach US?
For me, my application reached Delhi in first week of April, and I got my statement of need in second week of May. And at that time, because there was still COVID and there were very few open slots for visa and everything, it took me another 10 days to get my visa interview date. And once the interview was done, I got back my passport within 2 days, and I was in USA by mid-June.
Great. And Darshini never left US. So
Never left and still not gone back.
intention of going back because her family is here. So yeah. Next, is visa interview required for people who are already in United States? Yes. I'll just answer because we have too many questions. So we'll try to go through it as fast as we can. Would also appreciate if anyone has input on changing from H4 to J visa in the United States.
I do not know anything about that. I know one person who did J2 to J1, but I'm not familiar with that process either.
Darshini?
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, so I mean, that depends on what the wait time is. Sometimes the wait time is pretty long. Sometimes it's happening very quickly. So it all depends on what's happening right now. So what I would do is I would get a lawyer. You can talk to your program's lawyer and they will find out what the wait time is. And if the wait time is reasonable, you can attempt to make the change while in US. If it is not reasonable, you will still have to go back. So that is something that is dependent on what's the wait time right now. For example, like lots of people have tried to like shift from F1 visa to J visa while being in US, but that's very difficult because the minimum time to transfer is about 4 months. So one person was able to do it because they started the process right at like March 20 and they were able to get in US in like July 15 because they were lucky and it did like get over in 4 months. But sometimes it can take up to 16 months to do that. So if that happens, then you will still have to go out of the country. So make sure you find out what the current wait time is. That is very important, which keeps changing. It fluctuates. If we have changed the research program in United States, do we need support letter from both the research mentors or only one?
One only.
Yes, the latest one is fine. Do we need offer letter when we go to the consulate for attestation?
You don't actually, so when you go to the consulate, you do not need the offer letter. You just need the signed application and the documents that they mentioned on their website.
They mention, yeah, just the documents they mention on the list, nothing more, nothing less.
else, no.
Does contract has to be signed by both parties for New York consulate attestation?
you don't need to get contracts through the consulate. It's not an issue.
My program has different program name and institution name. Which one should I mention in the statement of need application? Can someone show me what a statement of need looks like? Does statement of need have the program name or the institution name?
I can show my statement of need. I have it.
Whatever's on your offer letter, I would say.
So
Yeah,
this is
whatever
what
they have
the
written.
statement of need looks like. So this is the hospital's name. My program is not named this. They're gonna put whatever they want here. So
Yeah, it has to match the contract. Whatever your offer letter says, that would be the name. So that should work. A question about whether we can apply for statement of need with the mere offer letter, which is not the official contract. Yes, you can. Will there be any issues if the address in the offer letter is a US address with the residential address and statement of need being in India? Not an issue. How many days program waits if the visa process is delayed? Up to 1 to 2 months for most programs, but some programs are more like okay with you being late. So depends on the program. But again, effective communication, quick communication is key. Okay. My J1 research visa got expired 6 months ago and applying for J1 clinical visa now from my home country. Should do I need to apply like a new J1 visa or should I apply for the change of category as well? Darshini.
I don't think you qualify for the change of category because you have to have that overlap, like I mentioned.
Absolutely. I'm on J2 visa dependent. How can I transition from J2 to J1? You can technically in US, but it depends on how much the waiting time is. I would get in touch with the hospital lawyer and like get the details of what the wait time right now is and what they are advising and do whatever your program wants to do, basically.
the one person that I know who transitioned from J2 to J1, they went back to India and they did the whole process. They
Yeah,
did
because lots of times the waiting time is pretty long. So that is a problem. Yeah. Do you need a statement of need if you are transferring from J1 research to clinical? Absolutely. That is the biggest pain. I'm starting my program in June 2023. Do I need to renew my passport before I start my J1 visa processing? I am an Indian citizen and my Indian passport is valid till 2nd September 2024. As per my knowledge, India is exempted from the requirement, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so basically, if you have 6 months left, which it seems that you are saying that your passport is valid till 2nd September 2024, unless you mistyped it. If it's valid only till September 2nd, 2023, yes, I would renew the passport. Just because, yes, there is an exemption clause, but if they are very like OCD about what they want, you might get in trouble at some point where you don't want to be in trouble. So just to be safe and for your peace of mind, renew your passport if it is expiring in 2023 September. If it's 2024 September, you are good to go.
I think it's one of the requirement for US visa application that your passport needs to be more than like it should not be expiring within the next 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, there is an exception, but that exception clause, again, most people don't know about it. So again, the problem is then you have to explain and then they may accept it as explanation, not accept it. So again, so that, as Shweta said, just be safe and just get it done. It doesn't take too much time. You can do it within US. I have renewed my passport within US. It's a very simple procedure and our consulates are pretty good at it. So yeah, just do it. Got a J1 for transitional year. Can I change J1 to H1 for next cycle while applying for a categorical program?
I don't think you can. You need to do waiver to change your J1 to anything else.
Yes, at least for India, you cannot. For other countries, you can ask your country's people. But I think India, if you got a J1, even if you marry Joe Biden's daughter, you still have to do the J1 waiver before you get a green card. So unfortunately, that's the case. The only way you can get out of it is like if you qualify for hardship, where basically you have a kid who is a US citizen, and now if you go for a waiver, then the kid will have hardships. That is one way. And if you work for an organization of national importance like the CDC, NASA, anything like that, or if you join the Navy, Army, or Air Force, then potentially you don't need the waiver. But other than that, yes, once you're on a J1, you need the waiver before you can become a green card. Okay, so someone posted the link to the WhatsApp group. What do we fill under the visa segment if we only have a B1, B2? I think we discussed this. You can fill whatever you have right now. Let's see. Does Atlanta Consulate do in-person for attestation? You have to check the website. I think Shweta gave a link. It should be in person right now, given that all of the consulates seem to be in person, but you can always check. They are very good with replying to emails. Most of the consulates are. They may not pick up your phone, but you will get a reply to whatever your question is within 24 hours at most consulates. So I would do that. Let's see. WhatsApp group. Can you share the format of research mentor support letter? Yes, Darshini. Do you have a format of research support?
I can search for it and I can post it if it's there.
Okay, so if you can send it to me, I'll post it in the latest group of statement of need. I'm starting my program in June 2023. Okay, it's the same question again. Okay. What happens if my parents are currently in India, but after they sign as surety, then they move to US?
I don't think that should be an issue.
Yeah. That should be okay. I mean, the point is at the point where they signed the surety bond, they should be a resident of India. But after that, what they do is their problem. So that should not be an issue. What if we have two state medical council registrations? Do we mention both or either one of them would suffice? Like that person has Tamil Nadu and Odisha for UG and PG.
You can mention both of them. If you have to, you mention both of them.
Yeah, they should not be. Just mention both of them. It's not a like do or die question. If we are staying or living in India, but we have a B1, B2 visa, do we still need to mention it in the validity of visa of annexure, or can we write not applicable?
You have to mention it. If you have the visa, mention it.
Which type of lawyer to hire in India and USA? Any recommendations?
In USA, immigration lawyer. In India, you just need the notary, so any lawyer can do that one.
Yeah, but I would try to ask your seniors who did it and just go to the person whose like stamping was approved the first time. There have been instances last time where they didn't know what the collector of stamps was, some people, and then the statement of need came back and they had to do it again, which will add a couple of weeks to 3 weeks to your wait time. So make sure you at least talk to a senior from your city. Every place has different like places where you can get this collector of stamps thing. So ask your closest senior and that they should be able to help you. Does
One
the
thing that I forgot to mention, the form, the application mentions it has to be 100 rupees stamp paper, but for some states it's different. Like for Gujarat, I think it's 300 rupee stamp paper. So like Zeeshan bhai said, ask your seniors what they did last year.
Yeah, the 300 thing is true. I mean, all my statement of needs have been 300 rupees. So whatever has worked for your seniors, just follow it. Does the relative have to be close? Is it okay if they are distant?
It has to be a relative. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, close relative is a very subjective term. So as long as they have money, I don't think they care. They care whether they have 10 lakhs or not, more than they care if they are really close or not. Is there an editable version of the revised statement of need? Is there a Word version that we have, Shweta?
So last year, the WhatsApp group, someone erased the Sonu Kumar signature and sent the whole file. I don't think I have that file with me because I changed my phone and it was on my phone, but it can be done. And I didn't fill out the form like Saadiya did with pen. I filled out the form on PDF on my computer. So I'm not sure if I can find the editable version, but I think you can edit the version that they have right now.
Yeah, and you don't need to erase Sonu Kumar's sign. I think they have accepted it with Sonu Kumar's sign, and Sonu Kumar is no longer the undersecretary. But I don't think they care because that is the only form available on the internet, and I think they are okay with his stuff being there. So don't worry if your stuff has it. You will. I mean, they will attest it and they will get it done. Can the second surety be from another state in India other than my own in India?
Yeah, they can be from anywhere.
Yes, anywhere.
It has to. They should be like in India, and they should be a resident of India. That's it. I'm a Caribbean medical graduate, no MCI registration. What should I mention in the blank space for MCI registration number? So what I can do is I can show you something. Hold on. There is something called, where did that MCI thing go? Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. Not getting it here right now. Hold on. This is the authority letter undertaking. Okay, this is, let me share this. Oh, no, this is not the one. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not able to pull it up. I'll share it in the statement of need group, but basically there's a letter where you say that you don't have MCI registration, but you are going to apply for MCI registration within 2 years of completing your program. So this is just your promise that you are going to do it. And that should be it. So I'll share that stuff in the WhatsApp group. You can just take it from there. So if you don't have MCI registration number, that's okay. And I clarified this with one person who had done this from like Russia or something. Russia or China, sorry, China. And this guy never had MCI because he went straight to US and stuff. But we were able to like use this letter and he was able to get the statement of need. And he is doing some nice fancy fellowship in interventional neurology right now in Texas. So yes, even without MCI registration number, your statement of need will go through. It's not an issue. Changing my visa status from J1 research to J1 clinical in India, not within US, do I still have to submit all the mentioned documents like mentor support letter, SEO? Darshini? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry.
So if he's changing his J1 research to J1 clinical in India, not in US, does he need to do the process that you did, basically, is what he's asking.
I think so, as long as you have the J1 and you're working in the US, I think so, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you are still going to come and like, if you still have research stuff left, but if you're like leaving the research position, like you're done, you've completed your program, you're gone to India, your J1 research is expired. So now you are in the same track as others. But if your J1 research is not expired and you intend to complete some of the work that you have left, then you do need to do it if you're going to continue. But if you are back in India and your
Then
research is expired, you are fine. Yeah. I currently live in the US, but I'm leaving into India in a few days. So do I have to get my statement of need attested from the consulate office, or can I start the SON process from India?
You can do it in India.
Yes, do it in India if it's just a few days. If it is more than 2 to 3 weeks, then I would start it from US. If I'm changing my visa status from J1 research to J1 clinical in India, or this is repeat. Next, is the ITR undertaking required, as it is not mentioned in the list of documents to enclose? The IT undertaking is for the statement of need submission that you do to India. Yes, it is required.
It
You
is
don't need the
required.
IT.
They
Yeah,
will
you need.
email you if you don't send it.
Yeah, that has happened. Like people are not submitted it and they got the emails and they had to submit it after that. But it's just an undertaking. You don't need to show the returns. People have this misconception. You don't need the 3 years IT returns, just the undertaking saying that they have filed income tax return for the last 3 years. That's it. For statement of need, do I need to submit copy of my UK visa? I don't think, I mean, doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's mentioned in the document. So I would leave it out. My permanent address is different from my current address. Which address should I mention on the bond?
Current address.
Whichever one you want the SON to be delivered to. So if, yeah, I presume it's a current address. I came to the US with a J1 research visa and I was on J1 research for 1 year and 2 months and then changed my visa status to J2. I'm on a J2 visa for over 2 years now. Should I apply for change in visa status from J2 to J1 and can I do it in the US? Also, should I follow the process for visa change from J1 research to J1 clinical? Darshini.
No to the J1 research to J1 clinical. I don't think you apply for that category. Maybe J2 to J1. I'm not sure what the procedure is, but that would be applicable for you.
Yeah, J2 to J1, and again, find out current waiting times, find out what your program lawyer says and go from there. Should I start change of category process, J1 research to physician from India? I'm on vacation while being on J1 research, or shall I return to US first?
That's a tough one. If you still have work in the US, and if it's still a valid J1 visa, I guess you can still do the J1 research to clinical if your J1 research is valid.
Sure. Okay, next. If I put in the start date as orientation date, will the course of duration 3 years end at an earlier date on my final application?
No.
You're muted.
Lost track of the question.
See, he says that if I put the start date as orientation date, say the orientation date is June 20 instead of July 1st, right? So the course is 3 years.
Yeah.
So then would that be a problem towards the end when you may miss?
No, I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that your dates align wherever you start your fellowship. Your fellowship might have to start early, or your
TPL does that, so it's not your headache. Your TPL puts the end date.
TPL will figure it out. Don't worry. TPL will help you with that. So it should not be an issue. You have to put the exact date that your offer letter is giving, basically. So you can't change that. Like my offer letter was saying 24th June or something. I had to put that and there was no issue. Can you please share the original statement of need application guideline PDF of India? The one I downloaded mentions 5 lakhs. Yes, please join the SON group. We'll post everything there. There is already some stuff there, but we'll post everything again for people who are joining. Separate surety bonds shall have to be executed for as each statement of need certificate issued. What does this mean? Mean should the surety bonds of 2 sureties be separate? Shweta?
No, it's for if you are getting another statement of need, and like if you already have one statement of need and you're applying for a second one, I think that's for that one.
Yes. So for example, you got your statement of need for residency. Now you're applying for fellowship. You'll need to do the whole painful process again, as Darshini will soon find out. She has to go through it again. Right now, she just matched.
Already getting anxiety.
So yeah, you'll have to do the whole thing again, the whole surety thing. So yes, the more fellowships you do, the more pain it brings with this. Okay. So the lease has just my husband's name on it and not mine. So I mean, for the address thing, just like get a bank account and put your like name and give your address, and that should be fine. Just as long as you have one bank statement stating that this is your address, you should not be worried about anything else. Just get the bank statement. That should be pretty quick. Should we physically mail the hard copy of statement of need to ECFMG? From my understanding, I think the Ministry of Health will email ECFMG. So should we preserve the hard copy for now?
Yeah, you keep the hard copy. Ministry of Health will send the PDF to ECFMG.
Yeah, no, it has to go through Ministry of Health. You can't send anything to them. The statement of need.
Even the physical copy, they email it, they mail it. You cannot even open that.
Yeah, you can't do anything. It's there. I mean, that is how it works. They have to mail it, not you. Okay. Does the offer letter need to have a residential address in India?
No, it does not.
Doesn't
My
matter.
offer letter did not have my address.
Yes. On Annex A at the top, where it mentions for use by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, can we specify the application for statement of need? I know they're smart enough. They understand what it is for. So I think you should be good to go. You don't need to do anything extra. Don't be over smart. These people just like, I mean, yeah, as long as you follow what they say, they will be doing what they need to do. But the moment you do something extra, it can open a can of worms. So I would not do it. Annex A requires valid visa in connection to present stay in US. What if I'm in India? Do I need to attach my B1, B2 copy?
Attach it.
Sorry, can you speak up?
I would say attach it.
Yes. Where do I get DS 2019, I-20, I-797, I-766? I'm not currently staying in US. Do I need to attach these? These are different kinds of documentation. I-20 is for, like, for example, F1 visa, student visa. The point is, if you have that, then you attach it. If you don't have those documents, it means you do not need to attach it because they do not pertain to you. Like, for example, DS 2019 is what you get after you like apply for residency. So, for example, now Darshini is applying for fellowship. She has a previous DS 2019. So she has to attach all those DS 2019s when she applies this time. But for you, you're applying for the first time. So you do not need that. In the same way, Shweta had I-20 for her MPH from Colombia. So she attached that, but you didn't do MPH. So you don't need to attach that. Things like that. So if a document sounds like something that you're not like seen, then it is very likely not needed. But you can always Google and find out what that document is. Can we make a delegation this year as well to expedite the process? Would you be a part of it again? I think given last year, things are happening quite fast and we are getting appointments very quickly. But if in the next 3-4 weeks, we find out that things are going very slow, then definitely I can lead the negotiation and try to talk to them and see if we need to expedite the process for some of our folks. But even 2 years ago, we managed to get all of you here and there was no issue at all. We were able to get it. The team was led by Dr. Gautam. He's a surgery resident and I was one of the members of the 3-member team, but we were able to get everyone here in time. So rest assured, we will do our very best from our end if there is any issue to make you come here on time. That is somehow, but like this is as a senior, that's our responsibility at some level. Okay, can we start the process of attestation prior to receiving the offer letter?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Can you provide original statement on? Yeah, that's the same question. We are going to put it in the WhatsApp group. So if you're not in the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group. The link has been posted by Anish right at the top of this chat list. My offer letter mentioned time only for PGY1. Can I apply like that?
No, you mentioned the whole duration of your residency.
Yes, everyone gets only 1 year contracts. The contracts are renewed every year and people know it. But so it should not be an issue, but you have to mention the whole duration. You can't mention just 1 year. Because then the statement of need, if you mention 1 year, the statement of needs end date will be that 1 year date. It becomes a problem. So mention the
You
whole
need
duration.
statement of need every year. Don't do that.
Yeah, that will be a problem. Can we attach the contract without all signatures instead of the offer letter with our statement of need? No, you cannot. If you are attaching contract, you will need the signatures. So I would just attach the offer letter. You said that we need J1 visa interview even if we are in the US, but we should be able to do a change of status right from H4 to J1. Technically, you can, depending on how much the wait time is. And even if you're doing J1 research to J1 clinical, you will not need the interview now, but you will need the interview when you go back. So remember, visa is to enter the country. This is also something that we need to clarify. When you get the J1 visa, you are allowed to reach the port of entry. At the port of entry, the officer decides how long you can stay in US and gives you something called an I-94. In I-94, they can either mention the last date or a specific date, which gives you legal status till that date. But most of the time for J1 visa, they will put something called DS, which is called duration of status, which basically means that as long as you maintain your J1 status in United States, you do not need to leave the country. You do not need a new visa every year if your visa is just valid for 1 year. But if you leave the country after 1 year and want to enter back, you will need a visa again. So that's why you will see lots of people not leaving because their status is legal, even though their visa has expired, because visa is just to enter the country. I-94 gives you status within the country. So that is something important that we need to understand. But yes, if you are transitioning from F1 to J1, you're transitioning from H4 EAD to J1, J2 to J1. And if you're trying to do it through US and if the waiting time is not that bad and the lawyers are supporting you and you want to try it, then you will not need it. But the moment you step out, you will need the visa interview.
And the J1 visa will be for 1 year.
No, not necessary. I actually got J1 visa. I'm one of the rare people who got J1 for 5 years. So it happens. I mean, but people are shocked. It doesn't normally happen. You will get J1 visa for 1 year, but I did get it for 5 years. What is the processing time if I have to change from H4 to J1 if I'm in India for vacation? You have to check in with the hospital lawyer and figure that out. But it is in months, few months at least.
It would be easier if you just do the process in India.
Yeah, smoother. But I mean, if you really want to take the risk, I would not take the risk without the hospital lawyer knowing and supporting your application. Any insight on home country requirement for transitional year residency J1 visa? Is it the same like prelim IM PGY1 where ECFMG doesn't sponsor you next year for a PGY1 categorical position?
I have no idea about that one.
So this depends on the program. I think some programs have like funding from different sources. So they may not be able to give you a PGY1 again, but some programs will. So that completely depends on the program. There is no hardcore one side or the other side in terms of that. But yes, if you get a J1 visa for transitional year, again, the waiver does apply to you. But generally, when you get transitional year or prelim, you try to get a PGY2 spot, not a PGY1 again. And most people, if not all, are very successful in getting the PGY2 spot. Getting a PGY2 is not as difficult as getting a PGY1. So I would aim for that first and then think of like repeating like a PGY1 position. But yes, people have repeated PGY1s and without issues, even on J1 visa. But again, depends if the program supports you in terms of salary. Trying to convert H4 to J1, currently in US, trying to understand the process, apply in US to the Indian consulate, receive the documents in US, and I need to send the documents to India for surety documents, ship to Delhi with all the documents. I'll receive a hard copy to my permanent address. And can I receive an email copy that can be sent to ECFMG directly? Is the process correct? So you will receive an email, yes, but the statement of need has to be sent by the Ministry of Health. If they don't send it, it's not valid. You sending the statement of need has no value, technically speaking. It has to be directly from the official statement of ministry email address. And that is very strict. That is very rigid. That doesn't change. And again, the rest of the process, H4 to J1, seems to be pretty good. But again, discuss with your lawyer the waiting times and see if you really want to do it. Can we switch from J1 research to H1B visa, not from India? You will need a waiver from India. So you can't go to H1B without doing the waiver or while doing the waiver. You get an H1 while you do the waiver. So you cannot shift from J1 research to H1. You have to go to J1 clinical. For other countries, there are some exceptions. For India, I have not seen any exception. Even if it is not written in your passport or it's not written in whatever your past visa is and stuff. I mean, yeah, you just can't do it, unfortunately. I did research in the US last year on J1 research, came back to India in May 2022. Am I subject to the 2 years home country rule? So will it be a problem if I'm applying for the J1 clinical visa now? Thank you. Shweta.
I do not know about that one.
It should not be a problem because it's like the waiver will still like you're not bypassing the waiver. Your waiver is just getting postponed technically. So you can go to J1 clinical without any issue right now if you're matched. I already asked for passport renewal. My passport is valid till September 2024. ECFMG is still asking for passport valid till December 2024. Okay. So yes, ECFMG sometimes can be rigid with that. Now that you brought it up, now I remember it is 6 months. 6 months from the end date of your contract. So end date of your contract will be June 30 or something, since it's the first year position. So again, yes, you will need a visa, need a passport till December 2024. Yes, that's the ECFMG rule. Now that you mentioned it, remember it's 6 months, not from now, 6 months from the end date of your first year contract. So that is why it's December 2024. So yes, you will need that. ECFMG can be rigid with that. What to fill in MCI registration number? I have Gujarat State Medical Council registration. That's the same number. You just put it in. Where will the recorded version of the webinar be posted? We'll post it in the WhatsApp group for you, but it will be on the Humans of USMLE WhatsApp. Humans of USMLE YouTube channel, but I will post it in the Statement of Need group for India. I have a state medical license number of Karnataka. Do I have to apply to MCI number? You do not. You just use the Karnataka number, or if you don't even have it active now, you can just say that you're going to apply for it later. So that should be fine. The WhatsApp group link has been shared by Anish. If you go all the way up on the chat, you will see that. And if you can't see it, just go to the Facebook group or just go follow me on Instagram, and I'll send you the link personally there. Thanks, it's fine. The program gave me offer letter stating 1 year contract. Can we get the format of letter stating 3 year contract which Shweta showed? Shweta, you showed a 3 year contract?
No, it's not a contract. I just emailed my program coordinator that this consulate the ministry is asking for proof that it's a 4-year program. So they just typed up a letter saying that it's a 4-year program and I will be there till June. I can share the document with Dr. Mansuri and he can share it in the group.
Perfect. Thank you. I am not registered with MCI, but only with Maharashtra Medical Council. Will that work? Yes, that will work. Not an issue. We just put that number. You should be fine. Who is Sonu Kumar? Just to clarify, are you saying that pre-attested forms are available? No. So Sonu Kumar was the undersecretary, and for some reason his stamp is available on. His stamp is there on the form, the 10 lakh form. So what I'm saying is that they are not attestations, but they can stay where they are. You need to complete your process and just assume that that doesn't exist. So I would not worry about Sonu Kumar's attestation being there and not try to like delete it or remove it. You can keep it as it is, and it will not hamper your process, is what I'm saying. It does not give you any additional help in terms of like not getting any other attestations. It's just that it will not be a hindrance to you getting the statement of need. Is there any processing fee to be paid to Ministry of Health for India for SON?
No.
Shweta? No. I mean, in previous years, I mean, indirect fees, as I would not, I mean, since it's being recorded, I can not use the exact word, but indirect fees were paid, but they are no longer being paid. You'll have to go through the process and everyone is in line. So that is how it is. In current address mentioned in statement of need application form, do we write the US address or the Indian address? Indian address. Should the sureties be sending IT return undertaking or IT return statements? I think we discussed this. It is only IT returns undertaking. The format is in the WhatsApp group. I'll post it again. You do not need IT return statements, neither of your like close relative, neither of your second surety. You do not need it. I'm planning to go home for vacation. Currently on J1 Research, get J1 Research stamp. As my stamp has expired, can I apply for visa category change in US while getting the visa stamp? Yes, you should be fine. As long as you get the J1 Research stamp, you can come and try to change the category within US if you want to like do 3 months or 3 or more months of research before you start. So that should be fine. My name does not show up on the MCI website. I only have a Karnataka Medical Council number, so I can put my KMC number. Yes, you can put your KMC number, or if you can just put that, I'll put that form in. You can just say that you will be applying for the MCI registration number within 2 years of completing your United States degree. And that form is okay as long as you add that form if you cannot find the MCI number. My offer letter states 1st July 2023. Although the orientation starts 19th June, should I put 1st July then?
19th June.
19th June, because then you won't be able to enter the country sooner than 30 days. So 19th June should be fine. But again, run it by your TPL. TPLs at some places may give you different answers. I'll follow whatever your TPL says. Your training program liaison is your friend in this case. Whatever they say, you put it there. Shall I start the change of category process research to physician from India on vacation on J1 research?
Yes, you can.
You can start from India, not a problem. Does the undertaking need to be notarized? Shweta.
I mean, the whole application is gonna get notarized. So yes, it needs to be notarized.
Okay. Offer letter states July 1st, orientation 26 June. Okay, same thing. In statement of need, do we need to mention only Indian address, correct? Or it has to be my current United Kingdom address? Indian address, because they will post it to your Indian address, the physical copy. Offer letter as permanent address. I am living in a different address. Is that going to be a problem for statement of need application? No, that's not a problem. I stay in Texas. Program is a New York state. Do I have to get the surety contract letter notarized in person, or can I get online notary done? Online notary is fine. It will be more costly, but you can get it done. And online notary, like literally, like they have appointments at like 2 a.m. in the night and stuff like that. So if you really don't want to get out of your home for some reason, you can absolutely get it done online, but they will charge you more. Is there a possibility to change from J1 to H1B for fellowship? No, there is no possibility unless you have some hardship waiver going on and you get the waiver process, which is a time consuming process and not easy to get approved. You can't change to H1. You will have to stay on J1 or you can go for O1. Okay, then let's see. Offer letter is done. For a prelim position, duration of course remains 1 year. Yes. Did you request anyone of your university program to file for 5 years J1 visa? No, I did not. This was just random luck. And that was it. In the application page 4, how can we get it attested without knowing the program start date? I'm yet to receive the offer letter. Yes. So, I mean, you can tell them to like quickly like get the offer letter done, or you can ask your TPL what the official date they are going to put. So as long as the TPL is 100% sure, which they should be, you can use that date. Should the surety first and second, should the papers be notarized? I think Shweta answered that. I have not gotten any documents or paperwork from my program yet. How long should I wait before I email them to send me the same so that I can initiate the SON and visa application? You can initiate your SON and visa application even without that, but you should try to get your paperwork very soon. So you would email them right now. You would call them right now, tell them that it is important to get those documents so that you can get your visa in a timely manner and there is no delay on your end. If my medical degree license is from one state, can sureties be from another state? Yes. Replying. The next, okay. Start date is June 12. Will it be possible to get my visa by that date? What is the earliest date you know when someone has done change of status while in the States? So yes, you can get it done. So what happens is once you apply for a visa date and you may not get the earliest date, but if your program is starting within 1 month, you qualify for an emergency visa date. And once you get an emergency visa date and that gets approved, you can be in US 30 days before the start date. So June 12th is your start date. You can be in US by May 12th, and people have done it. Even last year, it's not been an issue. It might be very close, but you will still make it. And while trying to do the change of status while within United States, that's a problem. Like most people, it takes time. Like as Darshini said, it takes like anywhere up to anywhere like close to 3 months to get it done. So if you are in luck, you may get it done. If not, you may have to leave the country to get it stamped. Do we need to put all the professional training and experience post MBBS mentioned in the CV?
Yes.
Yes. Again, observerships are not training, just to clarify. Externships are not training. The courses you did online are not training unless they are like proper courses. So make sure that you are not putting useless stuff and wasting time and energy. Do I need to send a statement of need in the next few days, even though I just only got an offer letter from the program and nothing else? Will the rest of the process occur after statement of need is received by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare?
You need to send your contract along with the SON application. So you
yes,
wait for the contract.
So the US process can be done, but for the main process, you will need your contract. So yes, you will need that. We cannot renew passport before 6 months of expiry. My passport expires March 2024. In that case, if you need passport until December 2024, how does that work. I think you can tell them that you need it because ECFMG wants it, and they should be able to help you out with that. If you run into any issues with that, just let me know and I can back channel and see what's going on there. But if you explain your situation, that should work. If not, let me know. I can directly talk to the Indian consulate. I have some links there. If the program mentions only 1 year of PGY1 in offer letter, should we ask program to resend the letter mentioning 3 years? No, as Shweta said, you just need them stating that it's a 3-year program, but the contract will stay for 1 year. Haven't received my offer letter yet. What should I know? We discussed that. What are the documents which need to be notarized, like passport copy, other letter, application, surety bonds, IT return, undertaking? To safety, just notarize everything, as Shweta said. If we are applying for statement of need from India, does the IT return undertaking still need to be notarized? Yes. I'm a September 2024 export, 2024 passport expiry person. What would you recommend? I should apply for new passport from India or outside? How early can I get Tatkal passport from India? It's pretty quick. The Tatkal thing is really pretty quick. Like I have done Tatkal from US and it was like really quick. I got my new passport in less than 10 days from my application. So it is pretty quick. If we are notarizing and do it wherever it's quicker. Like if the UK consulate is working at an equally good rate, I would just do it from UK. If there's a problem, then you can do it from India. If we are notarizing whole application, at which page do we attach the stamp paper? Just before the bond or the first page of application?
First page.
First page, yes. Is offer letter same as statement of agreement?
I did not have an offer letter. I only signed my contract, so I cannot answer this question.
Yeah, just reply to them and say that, is this the offer letter? And as long as say that this is the offer letter, you just think that this is the offer letter. So you just clarify with your TPL and you should be good to go. Whom should I ask about TPL? I have been sent all the documents for program, but still nothing even mentions TPL. Ask your program coordinator who the TPL is, and they should be able to help you with that. My program coordinator didn't agree to add 3-year course duration in the offer letter. Should I request for a separate document stating 3 years is the duration? Yes. They will not put it in the offer letter, but they can give you a separate document stating that as long as you are maintaining good status in your program, you will be able to complete the 3-year course. Is it okay if we have already removed Sonu Kumar's signature on the forms? Yes, that's completely okay as well. Sonu Kumar won't mind it. Okay. I'm joining as a postdoc fellow on a J1 visa. Will I be required to first complete the 2-year home country rule before I apply for residency? Or can I apply for J1 visa for residency right after the postdoc and apply for waiver jobs later? Yes, you can apply right after. You can join residency and you can do the waiver afterwards. You're not supposed to like complete the waiver and then apply. That doesn't happen. And there are no 2 waivers you have to do. Like if you do J1 research and then J1 clinical, it doesn't add waivers. It's not like you have now 6 years of waiver. You still have only 3 years of waiver. What if I'm waiting for my change of status application? It's not being approved. Can I decide to go for visa with early resignation intent and change visa from India? Yes, that is what people do. Like if you are not getting the adjustment quickly enough, you may have to just go back and get it done. Contract offer letter, statement of need, DS 2019 issued, J1 interview appointment. Is the process in short? Absolutely. Just to clarify, for the people who have not yet received offer letters, what can we do now with our SON and visa application? You start filling the form out, finish it up, and then at least get it attested from US if you're not going to go back to India. But if you're already in India, just get everything ready, accept the offer letter. As soon as the offer letter comes, you start the process. Start sending the documents in. But the rest of the stuff, whatever you can do without the offer letter, you can definitely get it ready, because it seems easy right now. But trust me, when you start doing it, you will start asking questions that you're like, okay, I think I should know this, but I don't know this. And you may come back to this webinar and you may go to the group and ask the question. So it takes a little bit of time to do this, and you have to make sure that you have the right collector of stamps and stuff. So make sure you start this process early. Do not delay. We don't want you to start late. Can I attach offer letter instead of contract letter? Yes. Thank you for the seminar. Do we need the statement of need before we submit the application for J1 research to clinical conversion? Darshini.
Yes. Yes. And it's like it happens simultaneously. So it's not like an independent thing, but your SON and the research, J1 research clinical is simultaneous process. So start as soon as possible.
Perfect. And then the last thing, or last question, where is it? What is the process of collector of stamps? So Shweta.
Collector of stamp, you need to go to a lawyer. They will get it for you. That's the easiest way I know it. Just go to any lawyer. They know where to buy this stamps. They will help you get it. They will print out everything. They will help you fill it out. That's the easiest way you can do it.
Yeah. So basically any seniors who have done it, just find the name of their lawyer or their CA and you should be able to get it done easily instead of trying to do it yourself and getting it wrong, which may add 3 weeks to your wait time, which you do not want. So like just get a lawyer and pay whatever they want, whatever few thousand rupees, that's fine. Okay. Can we attend the orientation on J1 research visa?
Yes, absolutely.
You
No,
can.
not on the research visa, but on the clinical visa. But you have to have a clinical visa for that.
Yes, on the research visa, the only problem is technically speaking, some programs may be okay with it, but vast majority would not because technically you are not yet gotten the visa to start that program. So you will need to be on your J1 clinical when you do it for the vast majority of programs. If you have like some very liberal program who's willing to give you that leeway, that's different, but I would get my visa before starting. Does NYC consular process attestation the same day, Shweta?
Yeah, you can get, you submit the documents in the morning, you get it back in the evening.
Yes, but you need to submit it before 11 a.m. or something. There's a deadline.
9:30 to 11 is the duration where they accept the documents, and 4 p.m. is when you get it back.
Yes. So if you reach there at 11:01, and trust me,
They
because
will not
at
take it.
11:01, they will not take it. The door will be closed at 11, exactly at 11. So make sure you try to reach there very early.
New York Consulate is.
Yeah. So do not. Yeah. They won't even take your documents. You will have to come back the next day. They don't take documents in the afternoon. So that is there. And I think then you need to go back around, I think 4 p.m. or something, if I'm not wrong. And at 4 p.m. they give you the documents back. Yes. So that is there. Can we use the contract instead of offer letter even if it doesn't have the signatures? No, you cannot. You will need the signatures. Last reminder for research mentor support.
Yes, I sent it to Dr. Mansuri.
Okay. And will I allow to be in US 30 days prior to orientation? Yes, prior to the date on your visa. So which should be the date that you put in. So yes, you can come in. If I'm going to apply for a new passport, should I wait for the new passport number to start S1 application or can I start with the old passport number? I mean, I would get the new passport. It's not, doesn't take too much time. Get the Tatkal option. It's not that costly. It's pretty cheap. Get the new passport and then start it. So that should be good. Okay. So I think we have gone through all the questions. Anyone else has any questions? Will our visa be given based on the orientation date or start date? Your orientation date is practically your start date in a way. But yeah, whatever your earlier date is. And as Shweta said, I think based on like whoever has an earlier orientation date, your SON will be processed faster than other people whose orientation date might be later than yours. Okay, awesome. Anything else? Okay, so if you don't have the link to the WhatsApp group, please go to the Facebook page or go to my Instagram and get that WhatsApp group. The statement of need WhatsApp group, not the J1. The statement of need group is more active right now. People are posting right, left, and center. So go to that group. We'll post all the documents there. We'll try to get the video up in 24 hours. No promises. I'm not a tech person. So we will try our best to do that. But yes, go to the group and definitely join the group, very active group. And we have some great folks there. So that is good. And then the last question, I think that just came in. Will blank contract work as offer letter at NYC?
You don't need offer letter at NYC.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. This was a fantastic session. I think we covered more than we have ever covered in any J1 visa session. A fantastic, intelligent audience, I think, and it was great. So, yeah, let's get this done. And if you run into any issues regarding J1, or if you know that delays are significantly happening anywhere, please reach out to me. We will try our best to negotiate with the government and get this set. Okay. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.